Yo, what's up you guys, welcome back to the channel. So your average consumer just released the first hands-on video of the new PS5 DualSense Edge controller. And let me tell you, man, there's going to be a lot of pros and a lot of cons with this controller. And I could tell you a lot of pro players who play FPS are going to have a lot of issues with this controller off the rip. And I don't think it's going to be a go-to, but I think it's going to be a go-to for those average players. So I kind of want to compare it to my current controllers, which is the Scuf Reflex FPS from Scuf. And I also want to compare it to the last generation, the Infinity 4 FPS, and just kind of tell you guys which one is a little bit better from my understanding. Obviously guys, I don't have a PS5 DualSense Edge controller right now, but once I do get my hands on it, which is probably going to be on release date, I'm going to do a full detailed review explaining all the features and stacking it up against the Scuf controllers, the Reflex Pro FPS, the Infinity FPS, I think that's what it's called, and also stack it up against the Xbox Elite 2 controller and just kind of give you guys my review and my take on this, man, and see if Sony has any chance, man, against these other controllers that have been in the market for a very long time already. So, and let's see, man, I'm very excited to do this review, and if you guys want to see it too, remember to like and subscribe. You guys subscribe so you guys don't miss that video. And yeah, let's hop into this video real quick. Let's go. Alright guys, so the first thing I want to talk about that I saw right away is this controller is lacking grip. So it has the same technology that the regular PS5 controller has, which is those little triangles, the little symbols, the triangles, the X's, the squares. That's not enough grip, man, especially if you have clammy hands. My hands are always sweating, dude, especially, man. But with something that Scuf does do is they have incredible texture grips. The more your hands sweat, the more clammy my hands get, the more grip I get with my controller. And I feel like if you're tailoring this controller to pro players, dude, you gotta have that grip, man. Whatever helps me get that fucking upper hand against my opponent, especially on those one-on-one fights, if it helps with my aiming, or you know, anything that gives me that upper hand as a pro player, I'm gonna want to, you know, purchase the best controller out there. And this is something that's lacking, and I don't like the technology on the regular controller. I don't think it's grippy enough for me. But maybe for those, like if you ever own the Scuf with those textures, you'll know what I'm talking about. And you know, that controller, DualSense Edge, is definitely not going to be, it's not going to do it for me. It's not going to do it for me. And I know a lot of pro players are not going to gravitate to that controller for that reason. Maybe we'll see it in the DualSense Edge 2 controller, you know, eventually. But right now, as is, it's not enough. It's not enough. So that's one point that I wanted to, you know, bring up to you guys. Another thing that's really bugging me is the triggers for this new controller. Dude, man, they're bringing old technology into 2022. Come on, this trigger system that they're adding to their controller is 5 to 6 years old. Like, Sony, what are you thinking, man? Like, look at Scuf, what they're doing, specifically with the Scuf Instinct controller. You see how they have also the same thing you guys have, the little toggle in the back where you could reduce the range and motion of the trigger. But what they did is they managed to put the last setting to be an instant trigger, kind of like a mouse click, and that's something I can't live without, you guys. I love my mouse click, especially if you're playing first-person shooters, man. You know that the mouse click is instant, man. You want the upper hand on your enemy. You want, when you hit that button, you want to know your bullets are coming out, bro. When you're aiming down sight immediately. And I feel like this is, for competitive pro players, this is essential. And you know, these triggers, man, with the range of motion, you still have to push it. And anything that slows you down, bro, no pro player is gonna touch. So I do think this controller is gonna be more for the casual player, kind of like the Xbox Elite. I don't know, man. This is such a letdown, guys. I feel like they should have done something like Scuf, where the last setting does turn into a mouse click, an instant trigger. But if you guys know what I'm talking about, it's a mouse click, guys. It sounds just like a mouse click. You click on it, it's click, 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 click. Like, it's instant. You shoot immediately, and having to just kind of like press a little bit, it's gonna slow you down. So I know a lot of pro players aren't gonna touch this controller for that reason. So, and I understand why they did it, because they have that DualSense trigger feature where the trigger rumbles or whatever, you know, with the regular PS5 controller. And I'm pretty sure that they weren't able to add the instant trigger because maybe it didn't fit there, you know, the module didn't fit or whatever the case is. I understand why they didn't do it, but that's something that would stop me myself from purchasing such controller. But hey, I'm buying the controller either way because I want to give you guys a full-on detail review, man, on the features and everything. So I'm about to bullet on this one, but let's see, man. Let's see how those triggers work, man. Maybe I'll just use the controller for like storytelling games like God of War, you know, just like that single player game, you know, those RPGs, something like that maybe. But definitely wouldn't play this, use this controller for like FPS shooters and stuff like that. So also guys, I want to talk about something that I do feel like it's kind of cool but kind of pointless at the same time, is that they came out with this USB Type-C braided cable that uses this lock mechanism box. So you place your cable inside, then you connect it to your controller, then you toggle the switch to lock. And now it's going to be impossible for you to disconnect the cable from your controller. So this is for people who bump into the cables a lot and then their controller disconnects, and then you have little Timmy that just shoots you because you weren't connected, right? So it's a cool idea, but I don't really see me using it. It's not a selling point for me, but I will tell you something that is a selling point for me is those swappable sticks, man. Those stick modules are swappable, guys. So I've swapped my Scuf controller already once, and it's such a fucking pain, bro. I've done this for the PS4 Infinity 4PS. I've done this for my new Scuf. It's just such a pain to swap the stick modules, and I done it sometimes. I even fucked up my stick module for my PS4 trying to put that shit myself. So this is such a fucking time saver. I've wasted 45 to even 2 hours at one point trying to swap my sticks just to get rid of that stick drift, because eventually, man, every controller gets stick drift, and if you're a pro player, man, being able to swap your sticks that quick is such a plus, man. That's such a selling point that I wish Scuf would apply to their controllers. And you know, I love that feature, man. I love that feature, and I just wish Scuf would bring it to their controllers. This is something that the Xbox Elite 2 controller does offer, so hopefully, man, we see it soon. All right, but this is a selling point, man. That's a really cool, man. Especially for those FPS shooters, man, who are always hitting that R3 button, man. You know, you get that stick drift eventually. So being able to swap it, man, instantly like that is, bro, I'm hype on that selling. You know, I'm hype on that. So another thing I do want to talk about is the customization, man. The customization of this controller is going to be crazy, man, if you have a PS5. Not specifically for PC, but I do see a lot of potential with PC if they go that route. So you're able, the D-pad, it's going to be actually going to be sound, headset, and game chat controlling. So if you want to put your volume up, you hit the upper D-pad for higher volume, lower to lower your volume, and then the left and the right are used to swap from game chat to party chat. So it's really cool, man. I kind of like that shit. It's gonna make it so simple. Now you don't have to go into your settings on PlayStation anymore and then have to change all that. Now it's instant just on your D-pad. That's really cool. That's, I don't know, man, that's also a selling point for me for whenever I want to play on my PS5. But other than that, and another point in that I do love that Scuf offers is the 4 paddles, man. The 4 paddles are fucking crazy and useful. I love the 4 paddles. It makes me playing COD a lot easier. It allows me to hit extra buttons without having to remove my fingers from my thumbsticks. And I feel like if they would add another 2 paddles, that would be so sick. And maybe we'll see that with the DualSense Edge 2, but right now, man, I need those 4 paddles. I know there's a lot of you that want the 4 paddles, and having that as an option would be amazing. I would have definitely opted out for that controller if it existed. Maybe in the future it'll come, but that's something I do want in my controller. I do like the swappable you know, sticks in the back for your controller, and being able to swap between the 2 different variations is really great. But I don't know, man. I feel like Scuf has it down, especially with the PS5 Reflex FPS controller. I feel like those buttons are so fucking good, man. They're so nice to click on, so smooth. And they're just in their proper place. I feel like they just sit perfectly with my hands. I am 6 feet, you know, I would say I have an average hand, and then I just feel like it's just perfect in my hand. So and my last thing I want to complain about the controller is, you know, customization. You know, on Scuf you're able to change the color of your controller, change the grips, you know, add instant triggers, you know, don't add it, remove the vibration from your controller. That's all an option with Scuf. And you know, being able to just have that feature is amazing. You know, for a $50 difference, you could get a Scuf Reflex FPS controller right now for $250, and you could choose from the colors they have there, which is already a lot more than what Sony has to offer. And if you want to pay the extra $30, you can also just customize it yourself and go through all the customization features where you could swap the triangle button, the X button, you could change the color of those, the D-pad, the color of the controller. You know, they have camel skins. You know, it's the customization with Scuf is incredible if you really want to customize it for an extra $30. So it's up to you, man. Or you could just buy one of the ones they already had made, and you'll save yourself those $30, and you definitely have a more options of colors than Sony right now at the moment. So guys, in my opinion, man, I'm gonna tell you guys, if you're a competitive first-person shooter, please go for the Scuf controller. You're not gonna regret it. The rubber, the extra paddles, the instant triggers, the color customization, it's just such a it's a no-brainer, guys. You have to get the Scuf controller, in my opinion. But if you're an average player who hops on here and there and you want to save yourself $50, as of right now, I would say go for the DualSense Edge controller. But man, I'm telling you, it's worth it, guys. You want the upper hand on your fucking enemy, that's what you have to do, man. You have to go the Scuf route. And you know, trust me, man, if you're more of a not first person, but single player, you know, like playing God of War and stuff like that, yeah, definitely go for the DualSense Edge controller, man. If you're not really into that first person shooters or the competitive field, you know. But hey, if you're playing COD all the time, Apex, Battlefield, you gotta do the fucking Scuf controller. You want those instant triggers, man. You want that. But that's just my opinion, guys. Let me know what you guys think about the controller. Let's talk about it in the comment section, man. What are your complaints? Obviously, man, some of the features they have with the customization is crazy if you have a PS5. So you're able to customize the button layout, everything. It's gonna be sick. I'm just interested to see how it's gonna be applicable to PC and see how if they bring an application or something. Once I get my hands on the actual controller, I'm gonna give you guys a detailed review. So remember to subscribe to see that video when it comes down and be alerted. And guys, man, appreciate you guys for stopping by, man. Like the button, like the video if you like it, man. I appreciate it. Let me know what you guys think about the controller, man, and I love you guys. Peace.